everyone, welcome to the 20th of July illustration. Slowly but surely I'm getting there, and I have only a few left to illustrate because I already have a few ready for editing, but it's only 9 flowers that are left for me to illustrate at this point of recording the voiceover. So, all very exciting. Now, I adopted this new composition for the flower illustration, and it's got rather than one main flower, it has a group of flowers. So I minimized the size of them and they become the focal flower, but a group of them, and I really like that look, and it's just changing it up ever so slightly. So today I'm starting by picking the color palette first. So I wanted to try a similar illustration, but this time implementing different colors, and looking at this illustration really was asking to use Payne's grey. In my opinion, I really wanted to create this color palette with Payne's grey. It's my favorite grey. It's got a blue tint to it, and if I'm not mistaken, it has a lovely granulation to it, but it's definitely not a flat grey. It's quite pretty. It has a transparency to it, but it can be built up to a very intense, almost black looking grey. So I love it for that reason. And then I also swatched the Daniel Smith Antique, Iridescent Antique Gold, I want to say. All the links will be down below for you, so you can check them out. Now, the flower is super simple to illustrate. I firstly draw something that looks like a little cup, and then on top just a little oval to finish the line, and then these half circles around in 4 areas to suggest some sort of petals or curling kind of top of the cup, whatever it is. And that's it. And then I'm going to doodle inside them to again suggest some sort of seeds or pollen, but it's more of a kind of fantasy flower, but it's not too whimsical, so I really like it. It's kind of has a sense of like, I don't want to say realism to it, but maybe like, I don't know, a sense of some sort of imaginative realism. Is there such thing? Somewhere halfway. But anyway, so I didn't want to have an exact replica on this page of the previous page, and so I decided to add a baby flower in exactly the same manner, and just changing the orientation and making it face down. And that's it. So it's a group of 4 flowers rather than having one main flower, and there is something quite appealing about it, and I really enjoy it. And I will take this style forward and create a few illustrations like this. And so now onto the leaves and a few kind of finer details, which I'm just adding these simple lines in the middle, again to suggest a breakdown of petals, maybe overlapping each other. And then I'm going to, here I wasn't sure what to create in terms of leaves or some other flowers that are less in the focal point, more kind of like a, you know, side flower. And I decided meanwhile to just add a few of the smaller leaves to give the illustration a bit more interest and fullness. And now I'm going in and creating these similar to the previous page pots, but maybe slightly more rounder, and yeah, very similar in that sense. I didn't want to deviate from the previous page too much, because I find that once I like the illustration I want to repeat it, but not to copy it exactly, but just to experiment with a different color palette but still enjoy the composition. So that's exactly what I've done here. For the green, I will use also the QoR Green Gold. I'm pretty sure I have already mentioned, but if I haven't, all the links will be down below for your convenience. And also, if you're not sure what colors I'm using and you want to check them again, they will be listed down below. So I try to minimize my palette every time I do these illustrations so that it's nice and easy to follow, but also there's something quite satisfying about giving yourself only a few colors to work with, because as much as we all have a bit of rainbowism, which is a term created by Jane Davenport, meaning that, you know, that love and enjoyment and excitement you have for colors arranged in a rainbow order, you know, then yeah, we all love looking at those art supplies, whatever they could be, watercolors, pencils, etc. However, you know, it can be very challenging to then start using those colors, and some of us are better at it than others, and I find myself more productive with a few colors. So I could use all of those colors, but on separate occasions, you know, not in one go. I love seeing other people use a lot of colors, but if I start doing it, I just create mess. I just yeah, I mean, you need to know what you're doing with your colors, which colors are creating mud, which colors are quite complementary next to each other, which colors would be great mixing within one another, and others staying dry. So there is a bit of skill required there, and if you just want to play and you don't want to think about things, then probably minimizing your color palette slightly would be a great start, especially if you're a beginner. But even if you've been painting for a while, there's something very calming about it, because you're already given yourself only a few, like a few colors only to work with, so you don't need to think what color to use if you already have pre-selected them and minimized the color palette in a way. So yeah, there I am. I have started with that Payne's Grey. Love it because it can be very dark if you wanted it to be quite dark, and then you can also water it out and make a very tinted, very kind of grey, bluish grey, slightly tinted color. So just ever so slightly to change the color of the paper rather than create a very strong color. So you have that flexibility with it, so it's great for that. And there we go, just the two colors look lovely, but I did want to use and add the iridescent antique gold right here. And to be honest with you, I like it with this combination of colors and this color palette, but if I had to pick, I really enjoyed the Schmincke's Gold a lot more, and I felt that it worked with a lot more color palettes, whereas this one works well with specific color palettes. I didn't like it with a lot of different color variations, so there's just a specific color group or combination that I would love to use it with. And so I think I would possibly even enjoy this particular palette, which is the Payne's Grey and QoR Green Gold, with the Schmincke Gold. I think it would look lovely, and I might still try it in one of the upcoming illustrations. But pretty much that's it. I'm just repeating the similar steps here by adding the iridescent gold into still wet QoR Green Gold, which makes it flow into one another. But again, kind of watching the level of wetness of the paper, because if it's too wet, it's just going to shear out too much and become a little bit washed out, which is fine if that's what you're going for. But I do like this you know, element of metallic watercolor accents when I tilt the page, and I like how it has this wow factor. So yeah, especially on certain, like if there is a larger flower, I like it a little bit sheared out, not as much in your face, but on smaller elements like these little seed pods or little side flowers, definitely I like there a little bit more of the gold to stand out. So we're almost done here. I'm just going in with the Aquarelle, Museum Aquarelle by Caran, and this is the Beloved Sepia 10%, I want to say, and yep it is. And then just in some areas I'm kind of using a bit of water with the brush just to soften it down. I love using it as little accents, like here where I'm just using it as shadowing really. And yeah, it works well with loads of colors, but you know that already if you have been watching all of my other illustrations. So nothing new there. I'm just going and picking art supplies that I know I have been loving throughout this process, and I don't want to step out of this comfort zone. It feels very comforting to me to do this series actually, because I totally switch off my brain in a way, and you know, not only giving myself something that I feel quite familiar at this point with, so I know that I'm doing illustration of like botanical sort, but also I'm keeping it fairly within one style, so I'm not doing something completely new every time. So my brain is sort of, you know, in a way trained to do that, so I don't feel like I'm opening a page and thinking what shall I do. I kind of know what I'm going to be doing, just playing around with floral and botanical shapes and creating basically things that look like flowers or something that resembles a flower. And that's it. So here I'm showing you the stamp set is by Great Paper, the Oasis one. I don't know if they still do it. A couple of people asked me what I was using to stamp with. I know that Ali Brown has bought the license to the font, and she now makes her own sets, and I think she makes a size which is similar to this one, which is a small one, and then she makes also a larger one. So if you can't find a Great Paper original one, then have a look on her Etsy. Sometimes she has them in stock. So yeah, that is pretty much it. So I was just saying how it's a very comfortable and relaxing space for me at this point, because the color palette is minimized, the illustration is pretty clear within what range I'm working with, and I'm just doing page after page, and it's becoming almost therapeutic for me to go to this journal, open the page and start creating. So here are some close-ups. I hope you enjoy them, and see you in the next one in 2 hours. That's our next date. See you then.